So right now we are seeing there is a body, and body is like a car. We definitely practice this with the eyes open. In any posture you may like to sit. Certainly during this session, this is not multitasking. Try and get a full concentration during these practices. So we are just aware of the body. And we are seeing this body in the image of a car. And these eyes are like the windows of this car. And there is the invisible driver seated behind these windows. Using the windows. So right now, if I am seeing some images and a computer screen, and who is making sense of all this? That invisible driver seated behind the eyes. So there is some attention now also on the driver. There is attention on the world outside, whatever trees and furniture, you are seeing all these things right now, this moment. And you are also having attention on the invisible driver seated behind his eyes. You may have attention, you lose it, you get it, you lose it, but it's fine. Even for a few seconds, you are coming to this awareness. There is an invisible driver here behind his eyes. And right now, if we are hearing the words and the sound, who is making sense of these words and the sound? That invisible driver seated behind his eyes. And that driver is the invisible soul. Also aware that if we are experiencing sensations through the body, pressure of the legs and joints, posture, is making sense. The invisible driver seated behind his eyes. All this giving attention to the soul helps it to become conscious. Otherwise, that consciousness is as if dormant. Soul is not conscious. And when soul is not conscious, ego is conscious. We are just creating this seconds, minutes of awareness that the soul exists. Soul is here. In the image of the driver, this is just a word. Invisible driver seated behind his eyes. As was said, you may lose that attention, but you can come back. And this invisible driver is very secure. Why is he secure? Because he knows of his world beyond. He does not belong to the car. Invisible driver is also the invisible guest. And guest does not belong here. He belongs to his world beyond. Criticism of the car is not the criticism of the driver. Even the absence of the car is not the end of the driver. The invisible driver knows of his invisible world beyond. He is a guest. He is involved. At the same time, he knows of his freedom. We see this truth of this invisible driver with a certain amazement. What an extraordinary thing to know that there is this invisible driver and he was not even conscious all this time. And we have the option to make him conscious, and it is good for everyone.